This is my beautiful slide for our presentation because apparently, even though I have some tech background, I'm not good at what I do with this. So, I'm going to just let you take over from here. We haven't seen you in a while. So.
Yeah, it's been a year for sure. I'm a little bit sick, so I'll try my best to not have a cough attack while I'm speaking. But thank you guys for supporting me doing the Youth Exchange program. It was really life-changing, and without you guys keeping the program running, I wouldn't have been able to meet as many amazing people and really find such a network all the way across the world, which was really, really awesome. I also struggled a little bit to figure out how to squeeze a year of exchange into a small presentation, but I'm going to try my best and just talk about what I'm most enthused about. And also a lot of exchange. I've noticed I've only been back a month, but I've noticed that I'm still learning so many things from my experiences in Denmark, and I think it's really cool how it's not just like 1 year of my life. It will continue, I think, for a really, really long time, and I'll keep drawing from it. So I'm just going to share some of my favorite anecdotes first, and then I'll end with a poem that I wrote. One of my favorite stories to tell people from the US about Denmark is how a lot of the times Danes will leave baby strollers outside unattended. My friends actually came and visited me in Denmark, and we were walking by these strollers, and they're like, why are these babies unattended? Like, this is so crazy. And I guess I like became used to it, and I was like, oh yeah, like they just do that because they actually trust everyone in their society. And why would anyone want to steal a kid? So that was really cool to see. And hand in hand with that, I used public transportation a lot, which was so nice. And there would be these tiny kids that looked maybe around the age of 6, just using the trains by themselves and totally knowing how to get from place to place while I was still so lost. And so it was really cool, just I think those bring out the aspect of trust in the Danish system or society, just with all ages. And it was really cool to be a part of that and feel trusted as a teenager there and as a foreigner, and feel respected by everyone, given the benefit of the doubt. A lot of the time I'd hear this phrase that my host families would use, that the Danes have this freedom under responsibility sort of deal, so you're given the benefit of doubt until proven wrong. So it's really awesome just to be part of an equal society while a lot of crazy stuff is going on in the world. Another thing that I like to share is this thing called hygge, and it's basically just this feeling of coziness. It doesn't have a direct translation of hanging out with friends. And so really, a lot of the time, I learned how to relax in my year abroad, actually, which I figured out is so important, and spending that time with friends and learning how to connect with them. So that was really awesome. And one of the things that was really important to me in my year abroad and helped me a lot was journaling, actually. And so it was some way to process whatever I was experiencing. And some of my friends were into it also, and so we all talked together about it, and eventually we decided that we wanted to go to a poetry slam. And so I went to a few in my time abroad, and it was actually terrifying because as much as I wanted to do it, I was super terrified of sharing something so intimate with this large crowd that I also didn't know. But it turned out to be really, really worthwhile, and one of my favorite stories of my time in Denmark was at this poetry slam, my second one. It's a tradition that while someone is presenting their poem, the audience gives audio feedback, and so they'll like snap their fingers or clap or just like give a holler every now and then, and it's just a way to engage and interact with the people who are performing. And so I was sitting next to this girl from Germany, and these slams were in English, and so it brought together a bunch of people from all over the world. So there were Danes there, and Americans, and people like Hungary, it was really awesome to meet all these people and hear their stories. And so this girl and I were sitting next to each other, and we got each other really hyped about giving this audio feedback. And so anything that we'd feel, we'd express through like these snaps. And it was really awesome just to sit there and get each other so riled up over these phones. And so we formed a really awesome connection. And then during the break, she offered me if I wanted to come on stage with her and read her poem with her, which was really shocking because writing these poems can take months, and to prepare for them can take a really long time. And it's something so intimate also, and she gave me this 5-minute warning just to go read her poem with her, like it was super casual. And I was pretty nervous, but I said yes, and everyone was encouraging me. And so the poem talked about her childhood and how she grew up in a ever-evolving world and society. And it was really awesome just to be part of that and realize how friendly strangers can be. And that's another thing that I really found, especially coming back from being in Denmark, is this aspect of feeling foreign a lot of the time. It's not this great feeling. It can be exciting at first, but eventually, you know, you want someone to, you want to feel like home. And I really did make a second home in Denmark, and that was really incredible to me. And so this girl showing me this aspect of home, of just acceptance, was really important. And so I really understand now anyone who comes to visit, I really want to show them around and tell them that they're welcome here. Because it's really a big deal to, you know, feel forward and like hold everything back. So also getting into poetry and just expressing everything was really, really helpful to me. And so it's hard to condense my whole year into this, but I wrote a poem that I think that's the best way I can express everything, not everything, but aspects of what I've learned. And realizing now my presentation is kind of like a why you should write poetry type of deal, but it's really fun. So I'm gonna read this poem now and try to not cough. Yes, exactly. Okay. Imagine all of the parallel universes that could exist, with every single possibility where anything you want to have happen, happens there. And no, don't consider yourself to be promised anything by these worlds or in them, but consider yourself able to live infinite lives with the same soul. In one of these realms, I met myself, about 43 times over and over, through the most peculiar bodies, with strange voices and styles and expressions. They took me dancing in the streets of the city in broad daylight. Trust me, I really couldn't hide anywhere under all of its foreignness. I looked for places to curl up in and make myself feel like California was still at my feet. But wherever I went, songbirds would follow me. They'd wake me up at 4 in the morning and sing to me how beautiful it was to share their home with me, even when everything they considered home was temporary. Was the sun shifting from staying out all summer to only peeking out for a matter of hours in December? Was not even garden weeds lingering around for winter? Was us knowing that our time together is unknown, but we sure as heck still like each other's company anyways, even if it's only us speaking of memories from past lives and feeling nostalgic of stories we're hearing for the first time. How amazing they transfer through us like wildfire, and you can still see their indentation in our rings years after we've met. The birds tell me that we often have our traumas burned into us as well, and can use them as materials to build a shelter away from the sound of people. We can use our shelter as defense from what can seem like the scariest and most heart-wrenching of things, that is, to tell someone we're in pain. But it's okay. These strangers and soon-to-be friends will stop by your refuge. They will sing to you how beautiful it is to share such a unique place with you at such an interesting intersection in time for however long it lasts. These bodies won't tell me to rephrase my words. They tell me I don't need to bury the parts of me that feel obtuse in this obscure place. I don't need to apologize for my accent or the way I groove. I don't need to apologize for feeling foreign and trying my best at times to hide that. Even though, to the rain, I often speak gibberish and incoherent beats on my walks home during the night, falling water still drenches me despite the odd shapes I mold myself into. The rain can't tell the difference, and neither can the birds that wade in the stream. And if I really let myself go, I can let the rain wash away all of my fear of not fitting in. Even though I often choose to squeeze all of my traumas into the small cracks of my spine, it doesn't make me broken. I'm not broken because I'm not alone. In every version of reality, in all of the possible worlds, I'm never alone, not with a soul that has been shared with so many others. How could I ever forget the pieces of myself that everyone has brought together? And most of them lie here in this new collected home, weaved of the blueberry branches beneath us, where new friends join me and we indulge in the small joys of the berries. And for a moment, we have bliss. And you can believe it all. Can you believe it all? Will you let yourself believe in the magic of you losing yourself and regrouping into billions of other people who you may never get to meet all of? But at least you're here with some now. And that is one of the sweetest thoughts I can dream up. How boldly these people live, dancing in the streets under the rain. How crazy to think that I can join them without even needing to change myself. I never knew that life could feel like this. I could live like this, free at last from a stamped heart, from a heart that desperately begs to be remembered despite being promised nothing. But perhaps someone receiving my existence would save a special place for it and then produce a token proving that we all exist as humans. And isn't that so bittersweetly how humans are? To long for that assurance and find it in this connection formed from us reaching out of our bodies despite the outside temperatures and the risk, and miraculously understanding what we're expressing to each other. We know that nothing lasts forever, yet we choose it anyways. And there's not a single person to say that it wasn't worth at least trying for the thrills of it all. And even if it doesn't work out here, remember all of the mountains and valleys that hold alternate universes, where what you wish to have happen, happens. How else would you dream of such a place without unraveling memories of each other through every smile and frown you've met? They're each begging for you to ask them how they're doing. Thank you.